Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Podcast for Your Life.
I'm Jam.
And I'm Jason, and we have a great episode for you guys today. But first, I just want to give a shout out to Jam's new glasses. They look pretty spiffy.
I got some new glasses. I've been talking about it for a long time, and I finally did it,
It's crazy. He didn't even have to go to an optometrist to get these new glasses, and got a new approved, updated prescription. Wow, 2017.
Yeah, I did a update your prescription thing on, I used my phone and my computer, and Jason helped me.
It was crazy.
It's very weird. Warby Parker has a new way of doing that to where they test just to see if your vision has changed enough. Like, an optometrist will actually review your results, and if they think that your eyesight has changed a lot, they'll be like, nah, you got to go to a real optometrist and get, a new exam. But it's like the same, which has happened to me several years in a row where my vision hasn't changed.
It's still at a -8 in each eye.
No,
It's been that way since he was 12.
I'm like in -4 something, -4 or 5.
Which is incredible, but also not that crazy. Anyway, digital optometrist exams are totally trending. We're not talking about that because at Podcast for Your Life, we like to talk about other things.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Today, we're going to talk about something less exciting, but also still pretty awesome, called Claymation. You guys might be familiar with Claymation. It's like where they use clay to make movies. It's kind of like stop motion a little bit, but with clay.
I think that sometimes people have used the word claymation even when it's not technically clay, but it's the same concept.
Really? Like
I think so.
Legos? Like, would they do it with like the Lego movie? Would that be considered Claymation?
Great question. They did a combination, but most of the Lego movie CGI actually wasn't.
That's such a bummer because
A
it
lot.
looks so stop motion.
Yeah, right. That was
I
mean,
heard
it was
that
intentional.
I heard that mostly just the faces were CGI, but the actual stuff, like, you can kind of tell. There's a lot of stuff that's like, but again, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I could be wrong too, but I remember watching a thing where it was like they animated it specifically to look like, because it really is inspired by the people who used to do stop motion stuff with Legos, and so that's what they modeled their animation style by. But it was actually a lot easier and cheaper in many respects to just animate the whole thing.
Man,
So
they did such a great job. Fooled me.
Yeah, that's my take. That's my understanding of how they did it. But
So, Claymation. Tell me, Jam, why you wanted to talk about Claymation today.
I was thinking about it because there was a time where you had fewer choices on how to animate something. You could either do Looney Tunes style drawing it, not just Looney Tunes, obviously, or the original Disney movies and stuff did that too, where you drew every frame. If you wanted to have a three-dimensional feel, your only option was Claymation or something like that, where you do stop motion. I was just thinking about how different it is now, because last year I saw a movie that did a mostly stop motion style animation, and I remember thinking like, wow, I'm gonna go see that because I really want to see that and stuff, and it's not so common these days. But then I was like, well, it used to be the way. Like, I remember what was that Christmas movie, Lost in Toyland or something?
Wait, well, weren't all the Christmas movies at one time?
Oh, yeah.
Claymation, like Rudolph and Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah.
So that's Claymation?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, it's just weird.
Crazy.
It's weird because I really don't know for sure if all that was made of clay, but it became the word people used to refer to that style, whether everything was clay or not. Like, for instance, I think the snow was felt or whatever. It wasn't clay.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. But the actual characters, they were probably like a sort of Claymation.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, that makes sense.
But that's what I think of is synonymous with the term claymation, or is those movies, those Christmas ones and stuff.
Yeah, that was a good old days. Were those movies in black and white, or were they were color?
No, they were color.
They were color?
Yeah.
I mean, because clay is color, so.
I was just thinking about how things have changed a lot, and so the idea of the discipline it took to move an object slightly over and over and over, and how that was an art or whatever. Now you can achieve what some might argue is a better result with less actual tedious work. I mean, digital animation is still tedious and difficult.
Yeah.
But I think most people would be like, "Oh yeah, it's way better than
Wow.
way better than moving a little clay character over and over." So
yeah. How interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching those. I mean, they're still on TV every Christmas, so they'll probably never go out of style. Maybe they will. My earliest recollections of claymation is or was Wallace and Gromit. Did you ever watch those?
Oh, yes.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Those are like straight up. I mean, I knew they were clay animation because they were like super. So yeah, it was what was it? It's a dude from Great Britain, and he made Wallace and Gromit, and I think it was like 80s or 90s. I think maybe even before that. I don't know how old Wallace and Gromit is.
Me neither.
So I'll have to look it up. But you could tell like the first one. I think it was like a grand day out, and he goes to the moon and stuff. It was like so cool because like it just you knew like it was very like primitive claymation animation. Like the later Wallace and Gromits get a little bit better. Maybe they started using CGI, or maybe they just had better clay. I don't know. But basically, like the earlier ones, you can tell they're very like primitive, but still like you follow along and you're not like, oh man, it looks like this guy had to like move his face 3 different ways because they had to make it look like it was real. Like I just assumed like, whoa, that's what Wallace looks like, and that's what Gromit looks like, you know?
Wait, was that the one where, like, was the moon made of cheese? When he
The moon was made of cheese, yep.
Man, I hadn't thought about the episode, or whatever you call it, movie episode or whatever.
Yep.
In forever, and until you said the thing about the moon,
Yep.
it didn't register that I had even seen it. Like,
So,
I know I'd seen some of that Wallace and Gromit stuff, but I couldn't tell you anything about it, other than the cheese stuff.
all right, looking it up, 1989 was A Grand Day Out. The Wrong Trousers was 93. Close Shave was 1995, and then the other one came out. It was that one where it was a were-rabbit or something like that, 2005, and I think they had another one that came out in 2008. So
Wow.
they had a good run.
Dang.
But yeah, every time I think of those movies, what we would do growing up is we would just like get cheese and crackers and eat it.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like we didn't really have dairy growing up, so it was a kind of special thing.
That cheese. Dang. That's great.
But every time I think of Wallace and Gromit, I think of cheese. Isn't that amazing? Like,
Yeah.
they couldn't have picked. Well, then again, not everybody has seen Wallace and Gromit, but they couldn't have picked a better marketer for cheese.
I remember we had this, one of my cousins was quite a bit older, and so he had a camera, and he would do some stop motion stuff with Legos, and
Yep.
one time he came, so my cousin lived in Bolivia, and so he was in the States for a summer, and we got to spend some time with him, and he took, he like showed me how to do this so I could help him, and it was really fun. He took one of my Mighty Ducks toys, like I had this like Mighty Ducks animated TV show toy, and then we made this little animated video with it where like it moves and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like amazing to me. I didn't have a camera forever after that, so it's like not like I could have continued it because it was my cousin's camera that we used.
Yeah.
But it was just so cool. I remember being like, I could make a movie. I have enough action figures and toys.
Right.
Like I could do this. It was just cool. I don't know. It was it's a strong memory in my mind of like suddenly at that point as a kid when I'd watched those claymation movies, I didn't think about the process at all. But then as soon as it was showed to me by my cousin, I was like, not only is that way cool, but also really fun and doable. And it's like the amount of time and energy you're putting into moving something slightly is so satisfying whenever you then watch it back.
And it's like 3 seconds.
You're right. But it is cool because you're like, whoa, he moved his hand.
Yeah.
It's like the simplest thing, but you made it look like it was alive. And that just is like this kind of really exciting thing. I don't know. That's how I feel about video in general now, because that's what I do for my job.
It's
but
like, whoa, that person actually moved. Whoa,
Yeah.
it looks so real. Oh,
It's
wait,
like-
they are.
right. It's like I saw them in person move, but now I watch it in video.
And they're still
And
moving.
they still move.
It looks so real.
But I still feel that way about like the excitement of like the product of work with a video, and you just watch it and you're like, dang, dude, it's a thing.
Yeah. I think it's cool because when you're doing those kinds of videos growing up, I think it's cool because it's almost like your imagination of like playing with toys like comes to life, you know? Where it's like no longer you making the silly voices and gun explosion sounds and stuff, but it's like, whoa, he's moving by himself, you know? It's kind of like Toy Story, but like in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. But but it's
That's
like
one way to put it.
it's interesting because then you pretty quickly come up against limits of like, oh wait, how can I can't do anything where this toy is off balance because I can't have my hand in the frame. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Things like that where it's like,
But then you would get that one frame where your hand is still in the frame, yeah.
It's like, okay, I can't make him do a flip because there's no way for me to have him like just pause in the air unless I had some fishing line or something.
Speaking of the Lego movie, I think some of the best scenes in the movie are when it's clear that it wasn't CGI. Like there's this one scene where Vitruvius, I think, the Morgan Freeman character, is like turns into a ghost, and he has like a little fishing line around his waist, and you can tell that he's being held by some guy who's holding them. I think it was like those are the best scenes where as the movie progresses, it appears as if it becomes less and less CGI and more you see all of these like holes into the animation where it's like, okay, it's not like a CGI floating ghost, but somebody's holding onto the ghost with a fishing string. I think those were great. I think like that was one of the beauties because it was like, oh, my childhood is like you're peering behind the curtain of like the imagination and seeing like what's really going on in real life, you know? Because like in our imaginations, I don't know about you, I did Legos all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
But as a kid, obviously it's all in our imagination that these characters are talking and playing and shooting in lightsabers or whatever you did.
Uh-huh.
But if you were to see a kid playing with those toys, you would see, oh, he's just holding it, or oh, he's making the sounds with his voice, you know?
Yeah, right.
So it's kind of like peering behind the curtain and seeing that. But I think that's like the beauty of this kind of filmmaking and stuff. So, and I don't have a whole lot to say because I'm not a videographer. So.
I didn't expect that like Legos would come into this topic so much, but it totally makes sense. It's like one of the
They're
most
made out of clay, right?
No, I mean like it is the same thing, but a lot of people like it's pretty well known for people using Legos and characters and all of that to make stop motion stuff. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it's interesting, and I don't know where the sentence should go because you talked for a while, and then now I'm talking, and I'm not really sure what to say.
You don't have to keep talking.
We could just cut it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
That part.
What would it have been like if Toy Story was a stop motion movie instead of animated?
Well,
like the scene when at the end, like when Sid is like holding Woody and Woody's like, now play nice or whatever. Imagine if it was just like Sid like, no, play nice, you know, like speaking out of the side of his mouth.
So wait, are you saying? I'm just saying
imagine the Toy Story movies actually being like real life and stop motion, but also with plenty of those like fourth wall breaks.
So you're saying that Sid would be a real life person?
Yeah.
Okay. And he would be stop motioning.
He wouldn't have been made out of clay like in the film.
Digital clay. Yeah, I love how Pixar used the digital.
Their clay looks so real. I didn't know it was digital.
Yeah, so digital.
Incredible.
It's very high res.
That's why their name's Pixar. I mean, am I right?
Very high res.
Whoa.
Clay there.
Dude, the highest of res.
Gosh, dang it.
Also, imagine this. What if you had like a comedian made out of clay? Like it was like doing a stand-up show in Claymation where like the whole audience is made out of like, so like you could even just take like a comedy show that's already out there and like just, you know, people do that on YouTube where they're like, I'm going to illustrate or I'm going to do an animation of this person's vlog. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that'd be like if you really wanted to put the most amount of effort into it, that's for sure.
I would go the Claymation route. Yeah.
Right.
Props.
Well, I don't know. I think it's cool to almost like over observe about something that's common. Like, I started just chewing for whatever reason on the thought of Claymation, and
it's like you were chewing on the clay itself.
Right.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me appreciate it, and also just be like, man, I kind of want to watch those old movies, like those Christmas ones, or like Wallace and Gromit or something.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get some cheese and crackers and a cup of tea. You know, put on some Wallace. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up for today. So, if you have any suggestions, this one was sort of suggested to us by, I think it was my wife, actually. So, thanks, babe. If you guys have any suggestions, send us an email, podcastforyourlife@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And we really do take your suggestions seriously. So, don't be like, oh my gosh, what if they won't do mine? Like, we probably will. There's a really good chance, unless it's like just something we have no knowledge of or it's inappropriate. We're probably going to do it.
Yeah, or you can, if you really wanted, you can message us on Facebook or post on our
dude, message us
timeline or whatever. So
post on that timeline.
That is all we have. Thanks so much, and we will talk to you guys soon.
See ya.